We'll see him second. We'll see Matt Stafford first. Matthew, part of the #1 ranked passing offense in the NFL. Off we go. And Stafford and company will start at the 20 as Stephon Logan takes a knee. Well, here is Matthew Stafford, and it has been the way for the Lions since Jim Schwartz took over. No team throws more. And this guy, his arm gets a workout every Sunday.
Well, it sure does. I mean, they put a lot on his plate, and, you know, for the most part, he's held up very, very well. Last year, going through the season healthy for the first time in his career, over 5,000 yards passing last season.
11 touchdowns, 8 picks to start the year for Stafford, and they'll start with a throw. He's got Pettigrew, and Pettigrew is bumped into by Morgan Burnett, who rides him out of bounds, a gain of 3. Take a look at some of the key contributors on each side when we go through the lineups. And for Detroit offensively, you've got the wide receivers. You've got Michael LaShore at running back, and then they've got an extra offensive lineman, Riley Reif, who they use as a lineman, a fullback, a tight end. They don't have a fullback on their roster. That's dropped. Pettigrew in his hands and out. Defending was Brad Jones. And now we'll look at the Green Bay defense before 3rd and 7. It's one of the guys we'll show you. Casey Hayward, the rookie, has got 4 interceptions. Walden and Moses trying to fill the absence of Clay Matthews, who is out with a bad hamstring. And on 3rd down and 7, Stafford completes, and now that ball's out. They're going to say no catch as it came out going to the ground, and it's 3 and out as Calvin Johnson could not hang on.
Well, and so we talked about it coming in, Joe, as far as Detroit, you know, starting faster. They've just gotten off to slow starts really throughout this entire season, even going back to last year. Now the Packers were in zone coverage. I thought if Calvin Johnson had just hooked it up and not continued on his crossing route, and Stafford just puts it right on him, he could have picked up the first down very easily.
Here's a punt that goes out of bounds instead of into the arms of Randall Cobb. And we'll see where they mark it. And then Ed Sfida will tell us how long that punt was. At the 39-yard line, and our stat guru says it was 38. Take that with a grain of salt. Here's Aaron Rodgers, and he has tied Drew Brees for the most touchdown passes in the NFL, but he's on an unbelievable roll. The reigning MVP over the last 6 games, 22 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and he is great in domes.
He has been outstanding indoors, Joe, and as good as those numbers are, I don't know that he's really played up to the level that he expects of himself. I know even against Arizona, he was frustrated in his play.
Here's Cobb out of the backfield. Randall Cobb lowers his shoulder, runs into Drayton Florence, who was just activated off that designated to return IR list, a gain of 5. And here are the Green Bay Packers offensively. Nelson Cobb's been the playmaker with over 1,300 all-purpose yards. He got the first play from scrimmage, and then the shuffle up front, Troy, and you need to talk about that, with TJ Lang shifting out to right tackle for the injured Bulaga, and Evan Dietrich Smith at left guard.
It's been a Packers offensive line that has, fortunately for them, remained intact through the first 9 games of the season. That changes, as you said, Joe, here this afternoon. Because of the injury to Bulaga, it affects 2 positions, with Lang going to right tackle and then bringing in their 6th lineman, Dietrich Smith, to man the left guard spot.
Here's Starks left side, and a tackle by Levy, but Levy went for a ride. And Starks has enough for a Green Bay first down. And how about Drayton Florence? He comes back, gets activated on that first play from scrimmage. He got a shot right to the head and the shoulder, and he had to come off the field. And they were excited to get him back to try and help shore up what's been a bad secondary.
319.
Delayed handoff to Starks. And that's played pretty well by Detroit, but a gain of 4. Eric Coleman came up from the safety spot to make the stop. Coleman, part of A shuffled secondary that's now without Spivey, who's on IR, and Delmas, who's inactive today. Up front, they need pressure from that defensive front. Averill is back, as you saw on that graphic, back from a concussion last week. 2nd and 6.
Ready, go.
Play action from Rodgers. Out to his right, throws a fastball, and it's dropped by Jordy Nelson. He had Nelson. Nelson looks at his hands on his way back to the huddle. It's 3rd down.
Well, he had an opportunity to come down here to Nelson. As you say, the Detroit Lions are going to play coverage for the most part throughout this game. And they know that they don't match up particularly well. You talk about Drayton Florence going out on the first play of the game. They are very, very thin.
25. Ready, go.
They're on the back end.
They're going to throw a flag, and 3rd and 6 will become 3rd and 11.
False start. Offense number 62. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
That's the new guy, Evan Dietrich Smith.
Yeah, that's the new guy, and that's something that this offense has actually done a pretty good job of, is they have the fewest false starts of any team in football. But as we said, Evan Dietrich Smith getting his start here today, his first of the season, and a tough place to do that, indoors with the crowd noise, and then against the defensive front that wants to pin their ears back and come after the quarterback.
3rd and 11. Picked as they tried to set up a screen for Alex Green. It's 4th down. And you go back, Troy, to that 2nd and 6 drop by Jordy Nelson. That's what has plagued both teams, really. The Lions lead the league in drops. Coming in, Green Bay tied for the 4th most. That was a drop of a 1st down, and it ends up a punt from Mastiff. Logan stays away. And this one is down just outside the 1. And it's Jared Bush down there to down it on a 49-yard punt by Tim Mastay. Jim Schwartz's offense starts at the 1. Punt by Mastay on the part of Jared Bush. He downed it just outside the 1. They gave Detroit benefit of the doubt, marked it at the 2.
Hey, who you going to defend?
But backed up, to say the least, to the Lions. No score. Was short. Picks up 2, and let's go back to that punt coverage by Jared Bush.
Jared Bush is the gunner on the outside, and you're going to see the awareness that he has when he gets down here near the goal line, and he stops, and then he waits for the ball to come to him, and he makes a play on it. He's an excellent special teams player, and Sean Slocum, the special teams coach, has had himself a heck of a year. In fact, Mike McCarthy has said week in and week out that the special teams unit has really been the best unit that they've had, better than the offense and the defense has played.
On 2nd and 8, Stafford from the end zone. Pass broken up. And well played by Devon House, trying to get it to Titus Young. And Devon House, a 2nd-year player, stuck that right hand in and broke it up.
Good protection up front by the offensive line. You see the route by Titus Young. A pretty good thrown ball there by Matthew Stafford. Gave him a chance, and Titus Young, as he gets his hands on the ball, you say House comes in with a hand himself and knocks it loose.
So now 3rd and 8.
Where you at?
This is where the Packers missed Clay Matthews. Out with a bad hamstring. Stafford incomplete, had Scheffler and missed him. And it's been 2 3-and-outs for the Lions to start their day, and they've been really bad in the first quarter all season.
Well, that's a throw you just cannot miss. You know, Matthew Stafford, as we said, I mean, he shoulders a lot. They expect him to do a lot. You called it earlier. They throw the ball more than anybody in football under Scott Linehan the last several years. But Scheffler was open, and if he catches that ball in stride, that's a huge gain for the Lions.
No penalty flag as the punter Nick Harris was banged into, and a fair catch by Cobb at the Detroit 48. Harris could have played that one up a bit. He stepped around the hit. No score in Detroit. Matthew Stafford's first quarter quarterback rating is under 60.
52.
It gets better each quarter.
Ready to go.
Tops out at well over 100 in the fourth quarter, but he's off to a slow start again. As Randall Cobb, who carries it like a running back, former quarterback, wide receiver, now running back for the Green Bay Packers, gains 4.
Well, I think if you look at this game so far, think back to last week with the Minnesota Vikings and the Lions, the field position that the Vikings had throughout that game and the lack of field position that the Lions had, that's the way this game has started as well. The Lions' last possession start up on their own 2-yard line, but because they failed to get a first down, they give the ball with great field position to the Packers.
Good cut by James Starks. Brought down right at the marker, depends on the spot, but he found a position and then cut up field. And they're going to mark him, it looks like, just short of a first down. Let's see if there's a face mask, and there is on the tackle by Sue.
And Ndamukong Suh clearly gets a hold of the face mask. A lot made this week when Jim Schwartz came out and said that Suh maybe had his best game since he's been a Lion last week. He was only credited with 1 tackle and 1 sack. I thought he played well. I think it's a little bit of a stretch to say it was his best game that he's had here with Detroit.
What?
They just get it away, and Starks gets to the edge and has a first down. James Starks has taken over that top spot at running back for Green Bay. They're waiting for Cedric Benson to come back, and he may return on December 9th off that Liz Frank sprain in his foot. That's when he is first eligible to come off the list. But in his place, first it was Alex Green, but they're getting more consistent play out of James Starks, part of a big running day in their last game at home against Arizona.
Yeah, that was the most work that he had all season long. A good running day. A lot of that had to do with Aaron Rodgers.
They fake it to Starks. Penalty flags fly as Cobb's got it inside the 15. But flags are down. It's against Green Bay for a hold.
Holding. Offense number 71. A 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
So that erases a 26-yard completion to Cobb. And instead of a 1st and 10 at the 11, it pulls it back 10 on this from Josh Sitton.
Yeah, right guard Josh Sitton, who has really been outstanding throughout this season, just got enough there of Willie Young, and that's what brought the flag. But we've seen the Packers, as has been the case since Greg Jennings went down, using Randall Cobb in a lot of different places.
Quick throw to Cobb. Gets a block from Jordy Nelson on the edge. Is able to stay in bounds. That's a nice play on 1st and 20. Gets 9. Let's go to Kurt for a game break.
Making his first NFL start, Philly rookie Nick Foles had a tip pass intercepted on the opening drive, and that's when Washington rookie RG3 made it pay. 2 plays later, he hooks up with Darrell Green for a touchdown. A 7-0 Redskin lead in the battle of the rookie QBs. Joe, Troy, and Pam.
All right, Kurt. 2 teams, 3 and 6. Dallas playing at home against Cleveland. The Giants are off. Rodgers. Penalty flags again. Looks like another hold, and it is against Green Bay.
Holding. Offense number 62. 10-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
Evan Dietrich Smith is guilty of a hold.
Yeah, well, you're going to see him, and part of this is because he doesn't know what Aaron Rodgers is doing behind him. He's in a pretty good position, good protection, and as soon as Rodgers starts then to his left, he feels the defender starting to slide away from him, and then he grabs a hold.
So now 2nd and 21. And it's been a mistake-filled first quarter offensively with a drop by Nelson, penalties. And the Packers are back where this drive started. Over the middle, it's Cobb, and he is brought down immediately. Brought down by Stephen Tulloch. A gain of just 4.
Now, we talked about how the Detroit Lions would play coverage in this game. That's really kind of what they've been about under Jim Schwartz, because they do have the guys up front that can get after the passer. Were excellent last year in sacks. And with the explosive players that Green Bay has offensively, they're going to try to give as much help to all those players as they can.
3rd down and 17. All day. Pass caught. Short of a first down. James Jones at the 31. And it will make an easier field goal attempt for Crosby after a gain of 13. It's 4th down. However, Aaron Rodgers is coming back onto the field, and the Packers, instead of trying for points, are going to go for a first down.
Yeah, I think, as far as an easy field goal, I'm not so sure anything's easy right now for Mason Crosby. He has really struggled after hitting his first 5. Has only made 5 of his last 10. I think this is a good call by Mike McCarthy going for it on 4th down.
On 4th and 4. Pass is incomplete. And no points after that drive that started at the 48 of Detroit. And so they pass on what would have been a 49-yard field goal try by Crosby, who's missed 5 of his last 10. 4th down try incomplete. And Aaron Rodgers go for it on 4th down. And instead of attempting a 49-yard field goal here on the road indoors to try to get the early lead, it's still no score. As Stafford finds a man and another drop. This one belongs to Calvin Johnson. And you can see the frustration all over Stafford after missing on that. Johnson couldn't haul it in.
Well, this is partly why they've gotten off to such slow starts. They've had drop balls, they've had penalties, they've had 2 drop balls by the guys that lead the team in drops already in this game, with Brandon Pettigrew and then Calvin Johnson, and that would have been a nice pickup for Detroit. Great job defensively by the Lions, not giving up any points after giving the ball to the Packers at midfield on that last possession.
They had help. Stafford setting up a screen. And LaShaw is brought down by Hawk. A loss of 2. And that's now 8 plays offensively for the Lions. 7 passes, 1 run. And it's 3rd down and 12.
Well, last week, this Lions team was not very good on 3rd down. And they have yet to convert here in this first quarter, and a big reason for that is they've just not executed on 1st and 2nd downs.
So now they're left with 3rd and 12. As Stafford rolls to his right, sets up a long one, looking for Johnson. Pass is caught. They're going to mark him at the 18, 53 yards to Megatron.
Well, Tramon Williams, I'm surprised that he's not even able to get into the action. They're playing him inside out with Tramon Williams and then Jerron McMillan. And he gets past Tramon Williams right away. Now it's one-on-one on the rookie safety, but Williams never even gets into the action.
Here's Kevin Smith over the right side. Penalty flag on the play. Smith got 3. That 53-yard catch is season long for Calvin Johnson. A guy who in his career has averaged over 80 a game, best all time.
Illegal use of hands, hands to the face. Defense number 93. 5-yard penalty on the 1st down.
That's Eric Walden, guilty of hands to the face, as he got his right hand up high there on Pettigrew.
Well, the matchup that they had, again, going back to Calvin Johnson's catch, a guy 6'5" over the safety who's just 5'11".
Stafford end zone, and he overthrows Calvin Johnson. The Lions are inside the red zone. It was this big catch by Calvin Johnson that put him there. And the Lions are the number 8 team in the NFL in converting red zone opportunities into touchdowns. That's the good part. They're 11 of their last 12. But Calvin Johnson has only 1 red zone touchdown this season, had 9 a year ago.
Well, they've been good overall. The Lions have been down in the red zone. Calvin Johnson certainly attracts a lot of attention down here.
Stafford. Pass is caught by Scheffler. But now it's 3rd down and goal, a gain of 6.
You know, you look at these teams, Joe, and you say, you know, why are the teams that are playing well down in the red zone, why are they scoring touchdowns? You know, back in the day, I'd say it was because the teams that were good ran the ball well when they got to this part of the field, but that's really not necessarily the case in today's game. Typically, it's about a quarterback making a rush or miss, making a play, throwing a ball high, a great catch. Nothing's real easy down here.
Riley Reef, extra offensive lineman, is an eligible receiver. Stafford looking left, now back to his right. Johnson's out to his right. Time runs out, and Burnett slings Stafford to the ground. Morgan Burnett makes the play as Calvin Johnson was the intended target at the end of the play after looking left.
Well, initially, Matthew Stafford is looking to his left. He's wanting to go to Titus Young, but just pretty good coverage there by Devon House on him. Now he rolls out to his right. He's then trying to get Calvin Johnson to create a little bit of separation, and he was just unable to do so.
Hansen from 30. He's been automatic since he was a 2nd-round pick out of Washington State in 1992. And he puts the Lions on top 3-zip. So the Packers went for it. On 4th down, absolutely have to have. Not only are they under 500, but they have the toughest remaining schedule the rest of the way. And they start the day 0-3 in the NFC North. Cobb from inside the 5. Knocked down at the 19. Take a break, come back. Aaron Rodgers back to work with his Packers trailer. Their last 5 games for just under 12 minutes total. They did not try the 49-yard field goal to take the lead on the road.
Where'd he go?
And so they trailed 3-0. Quick throw, and it's dropped. That could be the first of the year for James Jones, if they want to call it that. He was open but did not make the grab, and back to the 3rd down try.
See Calvin Johnson, he's got 2 guys on him. Titus Young on the opposite side of the field. He's got single coverage. That's why Stafford was looking in his direction, and this really explains why Calvin Johnson has not had as many red zone touchdowns as maybe a year ago. Not that he wasn't still a focal point last season, but playing inside out on him down there inside the 5-yard line.
Delayed handoff to Starks, who just gets ripped backward after a gain of 4. Levy. Sue was the first one there, and Levy cleaned up. Meanwhile, just something to talk about. And you said it before Green Bay went for it on 4th down the last time. If the reason they went for it on 4th down was because they didn't trust their kicker 49-yard try indoors. The weather's about to turn. It's about to get nasty. That's a big problem for Green Bay going forward with Crosby, who's missed 5 of his last 10. It's 3rd down and 6. Nelson, 1st down, out near the 38, and a 3rd down conversion, a completion of 15 yards.
Well, and Aaron Rodgers takes a pretty good lick at the end of that play, but you know, it really shows his ability to slide. You know, I mean, he obviously is one of the more mobile quarterbacks in the league, but he's got great pocket awareness and knowing where the pressure's coming from and sliding then away from it and delivering the football on the money.
Little shove to the ground by Fairley at the end of it, 1st down. Handoff to Starks. And James Starks, who had a toe issue early in the year, gains 3. Let's go for a game break. Here's Kurt Menefee.
Cleveland quarterback Brandon Weeden hadn't thrown a touchdown pass in 4 weeks, but rectifies that today at Dallas, hooking up with Benjamin Watson on a 10-yard score, and the Browns have the lead over the Cowboys in the first quarter, 7-0. Joe, Troy, and Pam.
All right, Kurt Rob Ryan, the defensive coordinator of Dallas, calling that one personal. Used to be with the Browns, and his team trails by 7. 2nd and 7 here. Timeout, Green Bay. Play clock was at 2. And so while Green Bay will talk about this 2nd down play, we'll tell you about UFC. UFC on Fox, Saturday, December 8th, starting at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. You look at Aaron Rodgers, who had the play clock winding down, and Mike McCarthy immediately went to one of the officials and started screaming at him. Head linesman finally comes over for a brief word, but McCarthy was upset with something with the play clock down to 2.
Yeah, you know, we talked about it a moment ago, Joe, just as far as the Packers. I mean, they've overcome a lot this year. I mean, tough loss to start the season against San Francisco. We know what happened in Seattle, the players that they've had go down, and yet they've gotten on a nice roll and have put themselves in a great position. But outside probably the Houston game, I don't think this team has played its best football yet, and that's a good thing if you're a Packers fan.
2nd down and 7. Here Starks left side. Nowhere to go. Knocked down by Tulloch. A loss of 2 and a 3rd and long coming up.
Well, it's a big challenge for Detroit, certainly, to be able to slow down this Packers offense. And you're going to see the job, the pressure, and the penetration that the defensive front is able to get. And then the linebacker, Tulloch, just coming off the edge and scraping a big 3rd down and 9.
Here we go.
Rodgers avoids the sack and gets a 1st down. He finds Driver, who takes it into Detroit territory, and that is what makes Aaron, well, that and many other things, but that's what makes him so dangerous. They had him, they missed the sack, and then he keeps his eyes downfield.
Well, and we saw it 2 weeks ago as well against Arizona. You know, you've got him bottled up. They get the outside pressure. They make him then have to move up in the pocket. And Ndamukong Suh's right there, and he's not able to get him to the ground. And it makes it very difficult then on the back end trying to sustain coverage for that long.
Back-to-back 3rd down conversions for Green Bay as Starks gets 2 over the right side. Consider the Packers come in having put Bulaga, Nick Perry, early Desmond Bishop, then his backup at linebacker DJ Smith on IR. They're playing today without Cedric Benson, Clay Matthews, Charles Woodson, Greg Jennings, among others, and yet they've won 4 straight. There's Greg Jennings, who is feeling much better after surgery on an abdominal tear. And they're leading the wild card chase, and they still have the NFC North and a division title well within their sights as Starks makes it a more manageable 3rd down as he gets 5. Tulloch on the tackle. This is a Green Bay team that's won 8 straight division games. We are looking Suh on the sideline. He and Vanden Bosch. Suh and Vanden Bosch on the sideline on 3rd and 3. Rodgers, pass is caught. Almost indefensible, and it's Jordy Nelson who just lost his footing as he tried to tiptoe down the sideline. That's 3 straight 3rd down conversions. That one good for 19.
Yeah, and they were fortunate here. The Lions were, I mean, 2 missed tackles. You see right there by Jonte Green, and the safety then comes over and is able to at least get Jordy Nelson off balance. Otherwise, Jordy Nelson's going to be able to take that all the way in for a touchdown.
It was Ricardo Silva who saved the touchdown. Here's a little push pass to Cobb, who gains 3 over the right side. Chris Houston on the stop.
You know, Joe, you mentioned all of the injured players that they're playing without, and it's really a credit to both Ted Thompson, the general manager, as well as this coaching staff, because clearly there's some pretty talented backups that are on this roster. But there's a lot of teams in this league that do not do a very good job of developing their backup young talent. And it's clear that Mike McCarthy and the rest of his staff has been excellent in doing so.
2nd down and 7. Rodgers has Finley wide open. Finley, touchdown. His first since week 1. And Jermichael Finley, left alone, gets his 2nd of the season.
Pretty well designed play there by Mike McCarthy. They're going to sneak Jermichael Finley. He's coming here, but look at the action by everyone else. They're showing that it's going to be a screen, and that's what pulls the linebackers away from Jermichael Finley in the middle of the field. They thought that they had seen it, identified it, came up to make the play then on the screen, and nobody in the middle of the field to cover Finley.
It had been since week 1 against San Francisco for Finley. His last touchdown reception. For Green Bay, who through the first quarter had the ball for over 10 minutes, ran 13 plays in Lions territory and had no points. Here at the start of the 2nd, a 20-yard touchdown pass to Finley. And Green Bay is on top for the first time today. 7th field look huge and impossible to cover all parts of it. Jermichael Finley left wide open. Troy will show you why. After the kick, Crosby pops it up a bit. Logan from just outside the 5. Out to the 25, maybe the 26, and we go back to the touchdown.
Well, you're going to see the action by the screen here and what it does to these linebackers in the middle, and how Jermichael Finley at tight end. He goes to the middle of the field. The linebackers, as I said, they see screen, they read it, they go to attack it, and then Aaron Rodgers, he puts it on Jermichael Finley. And that's what he's trying to explain to defensive coordinator Gunther Cunningham. But Aaron Rodgers probably has an option on that. If he reads the middle of the field with the linebackers, if they go to the screen, he hits the tight end. If they stay with the tight end, he throws the screen.
Here is LaShore over the left side, a gain of 2 for more on Jermichael Finley. Let's go down to Pam Oliver.
Well, Joe, Finley's confidence had been shot, but that TD catch might improve it a lot. He struggled with dropping the football. He told me straight up he was in a funk. His position coach, Jerry Fontenot, said it's his job to find proper places that would help Finley. Back to you.
All right, so Finley, who's been that weapon that really has not been able to be counted on with those drops, as Pam mentioned. He has disappeared at times. He's still a big play tight end. Here is a pass caught on the outside by Will Heller. And a nice job by Matthew Stafford of keeping that play alive and finding Will Heller all alone for 17 yards.
Well, they brought Casey Hayward off the edge right into the face of Matthew Stafford, but he overran it. You know, you get in such a hurry as a defensive back to make a play and get there for the sack that if you're not under control, Stafford's able to elude him, and then they turn Heller loose in the flat.
So a first down for Detroit. Good play by Stafford. And it's LaShore. Started left, comes back to his right. And Michael gets 2.
And I know in visiting with Scott Linehan, they'd really like for LaShore to be really the bell cow for this offense. But, you know, since he's come back, the thing with him is he'll get a number of carries, and then Scott Linehan says he's sore the next week, and they're not able to get him as much work. He anticipates that in this game, they're going to be able to feed the ball to him a little bit more. But, you know, he's only had 20-plus carries once this season. That was week 3, his first game back.
Missed his rookie season with a torn Achilles. Now it's Joique Bell in the backfield on 2nd and 8. Stafford in trouble. And Stafford will be pulled down with a loss of 1. Eric Walden is there. And we go to the coverage of Calvin Johnson with applause from Clay Matthews on the sideline.
Well, as you would expect, I mean, they're playing man coverage underneath. He runs an excellent route in being able to create some separation, but Stafford just unable to hang with him and then make a play. They also turned the tailback, Joique Bell, loose underneath on a check down route.
Walden and Zombo were there. Combined on the sack of Stafford to bring up 3rd down and 9.
Watch it too.
4 men on the rush. Lions block it. Pass is caught by Calvin Johnson. And just able to secure it before going out of bounds, a gain of 21.
Well, an excellent route by Calvin Johnson. Tramon Williams, again, he's getting help. So we came into this game talking about how he would shadow Calvin Johnson, but he's going to have some help over the top. Did Calvin Johnson have the ball? I'm not so sure that he did. I'm sure Mike McCarthy's taking a look at this one.
No challenge flag yet, but there was a bobble. And it was pretty iffy as to whether he controlled it before getting that second foot down. Handoff is to Bell. And Joik pushes the pile over the right side. Good for 4. A.J. Hawk on the tackle. This week, Fox College football begins on Friday as 25th ranked Washington battles Washington State. Saturday, Baylor takes on Texas Tech, followed by 13th ranked Stanford taking on UCLA. Big win yesterday for UCLA over USC. Possible preview of the Pac-12 championship coverage next week. Friday at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific. Continues on Saturday at 2 Eastern.
I'm sorry, did you say UCLA won yesterday?
Yes, I meant to tell you that. Here is a 4-man rush. Stafford with a bobble and a catch. And the catch made by Pettigrew. Good for 3.
Well, we see Brandon Pettigrew and Calvin Johnson. I'm still not sure whether or not Calvin Johnson got his feet in play. They're on that one catch, but Brandon Pettigrew, he had a hard time catch. Here's the look at the catch by Calvin Johnson. Now he's got possession, and I don't think it was a catch.
I don't either, and there was no review. It was good for 21 yards, and now it's 3rd and 3. Stafford completes. Johnson down to the 11. And Calvin Johnson coming off a career best 12 catches at the Vikings is emerging today as what he is, I guess, every week, but he's getting yardage in big chunks. That's 14 yards. He's got 3 catches, 88 yards already.
Well, you see a guy running down the field with that kind of size and speed. I mean, he threatens you, and it creates separation as it did there against Tramon Williams.
Here's LaShore. Room to run. And LaShore is down inches outside the goal line. Brought down by Hawk. It should be enough for a first down. And it'll be 1st and goal from inside the 1. Well, there was a lot of room to run.
That's a good job offensively along that offensive line by center Dominic Raiola and Rob Sims.
Here he is again. And LaShore is no signal yet. Looked like he got in. Touchdown. Fifth rushing touchdown of the season for Mikel LaShore, and the Lions are back on top.
You see how low Mikel LaShore got after he got the ball in his hands. They got a double team inside with the offensive line, and he keeps it low and is able to plow his way across the goal line.
They're going to look at it with a scoring play. That's typical, but clearly with that second effort, you could see the ball cross the goal line. They're going to review it, and I guess the only question is the knee down? It looked like LaShore was on top of bodies. You'll see the ball come through at the end. Knees are still in the air, but they're going to look at it. We'll get the ball, but we'll get the official word from Ron Winter. They show it on the big board here at Ford Field. This is a long look. The only question is the knee, and I don't see any evidence that the knee's down before LaShore clearly breaks the plane of the goal line. Let's see at this look. Knees are still up, and that's a touchdown.
Yeah, his knee was on someone's foot, on the top of their shoe. We've looked at it just about every which way you can. We've seen nothing to suggest they'll overturn it.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. It is a touchdown.
So the extra point to make it a 3-point game coming up from Hansen.
Obviously, the play in that drive was the bobbled catch by Calvin Johnson on 3rd and 9. And I'm not sure, Mike Pereira said he thought it was a catch. It would have been interesting to see how that would have been ruled if they had to go under the hood.
That is the 11th rushing touchdown of the season for the Lions. And it's 10-7. Here's that play again along the sideline on 3rd down and 9. That bobble ruled a catch. Matthew Stafford, Jim Schwartz, their Lions on top by 3. Season that ties the Patriots for the most in the league. And they're now 12 of 14 in scoring touchdowns their last 14 times inside the red zone. So they're good at finishing drives. They've done it a lot on the ground. Calvin Johnson got him down in there. And now we'll see more from Aaron Rodgers. We welcome you inside our broadcast booth. I am Joe, that's Troy, and that was a big drive for Detroit to take some of the momentum away in Green Bay in a game that the Lions really need here today.
Well, it was a big drive because they were able to answer the touchdown that Green Bay was able to get, and probably most importantly, they were able to keep Green Bay's offense, on the sidelines, which is a big part in how they're going to be able to win this game if, in fact, they're able to do that. But I go back to what I said earlier as far as what you just mentioned, Joe. This is a Lions team that expects to be in the playoffs, and this is a game that they need to win against a team that's playing without some real key players for the Packers.
Durant on the tackle, a gain of 6. I mean, do you agree with me? Sometimes the Green Bay Packers, with all that Rodgers can do with his legs, the vision down the field, keeping plays alive, they make the field so big. It's hard for a defense to cover all that Aaron Rodgers can see.
They got great players, and that is tough enough. And then when you combine that with a quarterback who can keep plays alive, it becomes even tougher.
Here's Starks over the right side, and he's been pretty impressive, James Starks. Not a ton of room to run, but he's got 5 and a first down. Tulloch was out there for the tackle, but Starks is trying to get on a roll, and again, the Packers coming off by far their best game running the football, their last game against Arizona.
And I think everybody remembers back to a couple years ago during that playoff run and the contributions by James Starks. And let's face it, this is a team that's always going to be built around the arm of Aaron Rodgers, but if they can get some kind of balance and a little more production out of the running game, they're going to be really, really good.
Penalty flag flies, delayed handoff to Starks. They keep riding him, but a flag is down at the start of the play. Starks was good for 8. And it's against Detroit.
Offside. Defense number 98, lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Interesting, instead of a 2nd and 2, Green Bay would opt for the 1st and 5, and you can see the right hand of Fairley across. That's 15 defensive offside penalties against the Lions, most in the NFL.
Yeah, that's and he didn't even jump. He just lined up. He's coming off a heck of a game last week, and was limited last year with the stress fracture in his foot, but I thought that he played very, very well, and he should, because he gets a lot of the single blocking.
How about Starks trying to run through Tulloch? It'll be 2nd and 1, a gain of 4. Let's go to Kurt Menefee for a game break.
Well, in that matchup of rookie quarterbacks, Phillies, Nick Foles has 2 first-half interceptions, while RG3 has 2 first-half touchdowns. An easy one here, 49 yards to a wide-open Aldrick Robinson, and the Redskins lead it 14-3 midway through the second quarter, Joe Troy fan.
All right, so a great start for RG3, and we'll see him on Thursday, Thanksgiving in Dallas.
Back, go back, 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 back.
Redskins and Cowboys, 2nd and 1. Starks. Nice play. And back in the backfield, it was Durant, a loss of 2.
Justin Durant, he's able to come right through that offensive line just untouched. You know, the blockers are occupied with the defensive front, and they're not able to get that alignment up to that next level to pick up Durant. He's able to come right through the gap and make a play on Starks.
So now 3rd and 3. 5th tackle of the day for Durant.
What? Where you going? Where you go?
Rodgers trying to outrun Sue, incomplete. But a flag is down for a hold against Green Bay. It'll be 4th down. That penalty will be declined. 4th down coming up.
That's a great job by Ndamukong Suh. He gets
Offense number 70. The penalties decline. It's the 4th down.
Dietrich Smith. He's one-on-one. Actually, was that Sue or was that Young?
That was Fairley.
Okay, that was Fairley. But Fairley gets the one-on-one blocking that I talked about a little bit earlier. And he beats Dietrich Smith right away. And so he's right then in the lap of Aaron Rodgers. That play didn't have much of a chance right from the start.
Maste hits it on 4th down, 4th and 3. Logan with a fair catch. Quick whistle, but Logan muffed the punch. Logan able to get back on top of it. But the official took for granted that Logan was going to make the clean, fair catch and blew the whistle as Logan let it get out of his arms and was fortunate to get back on top. Listen. No harm, no foul. Lions with the ball up by 3. Now it's the last 2, 131 yards with a field goal and a touchdown. They lead by 3. Under 5 to go first half. Stafford throws way behind Scheffler.
We saw one earlier to Scheffler in the first quarter that would have been a big gain. That would have been a nice pickup there as well. Overall, Matthew Stafford, he's a 63% passer. So it's not like he's not completing a high percentage of balls, but even on that one, you see these throws occasionally, you just kind of wonder what happened, and that was one of them.
Maybe Scheffler got faster during the week. 2nd and 10. Little end around, and that's the newcomer, Mike Thomas, who gets upended, literally, a gain of 6.
Well, they've kind of had to go through some changes along with the wide receivers because of the injury to Nate Burleson, and a very productive player. Last year had already over 70 catches, and so everybody then had to move up one. They brought in Thomas, and of course Titus Young then became the second guy, and Nate Burleson there standing on the bench had a broken leg. But it's made the rookie also, Ryan Broyles, have to play more than they wanted him to.
Penalty flags, obviously. And it certainly looked like against Green Bay, and it will be, as Mike Neal came across, 96. And that should be enough for a first down.
Offside. Defense number 96, unabated to the quarterback.
That's a nice job by
penalty.
Matthew Stafford of using snap count to his advantage on 3rd and 5. And when you've got a veteran offensive line, especially when you've got a veteran center in Dominic Raiola, you have the confidence then of doing that, because if you move yourself going to 3rd and 10, very difficult then to convert on those.
Mike Neal had to come over to the sideline and stare into the eyes of Mike Turgevac, his defensive line coach. He just gave the Lions a first down by penalty. Here is LaShore. And Michael gets to the edge. Burnett with the hit to knock him out, but a big run. A gain of 15 yards and another Lion first down.
Well, they're able to seal the edge. Brandon Pettigrew, he does a good job, and Calvin Johnson, he helps out. You can see on the end of line, they bring Stephen Peterman, the right guard. Good execution. Tramon Williams, wanting to get the holding call, and it looked like, I've seen him call a lot less than that holding. So Calvin Johnson maybe gets away with one, and now left tackle Jeff Backus hobbles off the field.
And now Riley Reef, who is the first-round pick out of Iowa, goes to that left tackle spot. A spot that seems his place as the years go forward. Backus has been a rock out there at left tackle for this organization as LaShore gets knocked down by Hawk, a gain of 2.
Yeah, Riley Reef, he was their first-round pick, and as Lion fans know, he's gotten an opportunity to play a little bit because they don't have a fullback on their roster. They've used him in that role, and it's helped them. And he was never intended to really play a lot because, as I said, it was a veteran offensive line. They've been playing together for 3+ years, and that would sort itself out moving forward into next season, whether it's contracts that are up or potential retirements. But yes, he's at the position that he was drafted to play back in April.
2nd down and 8. Stafford steps up, gets hit, and overshoots Calvin Johnson. And Stafford went down. He was bothered on that throw and gets up limping just a bit. 3rd and 8.
Desmond Moses, he's the guy who comes around the corner and is able to get low on Matthew Stafford and disrupts the throw just enough because Calvin Johnson, he had a chance. And Matthew Stafford, sometimes you come in there and you get rolled up a little bit on the outside, it affects the knee. You see the move there that's made. And so even though you put 2 guys on Tramon Williams, once that big receiver that's fast gets beyond the corner, it no longer matters you've got 2 guys on him. You're one-on-one on a safety.
Little limp going to the sideline as Detroit calls a timeout. 3rd down and 8 to mollify the concerns of Lions fans by you've diagnosed this as possibly a hamstring injury for Backus.
Well, the way he came off and grabbed the back of his leg, I mean, it looked to me, Joe.
Okay.
I'm not a doctor, but it looked like a hamstring injury to me. We're going to report from camp.
There you go. 3rd down and 8. Stafford with a pocket throws and nothing there, but they were going to get a flag late, and it could be for a hit on Matthew Stafford. And if so, it's an automatic first down.
Looked like Brad Jones. He comes in with his left arm, and I don't know about that one, Joe. It's supposed to be a forcible blow.
Roughing and passer.
Yeah, maybe that's penalty. I don't know. I don't know how you really determine what's forcible and what's not, but it didn't look like it was really within the intent of the rule. Charles Woodson didn't think so either.
I agree with you, but don't you think that word's gone out the weekend after 3 quarterbacks went down and a couple of vicious hits in there? You think about Cutler, Roethlisberger, Alex Smith of the 49ers, and now that slap to the helmet gives Detroit a first down. Not surprising.
No, I'm not surprised either.
So now from the 29, Stafford with play action. And he's picked. And it's the rookie Casey Hayward. A penalty flag comes in. Hayward's got his 5th. A flag came in after the interception. It looks like it's against Detroit, and if it is, that rookie has got a nose for the football and got his 5th interception.
Either that or he's just real sneaky, because he was kind of hitting in there a little bit.
Prior to the pass, holding, offense number 71. That penalty's declined. First down.
Casey Hayward is kind of tucked in there a little bit, and as Matthew Stafford, he sees Titus Young coming across on the crossing route, and he's not able to pick up Hayward out in front of him. He didn't even know really where he came from. Casey Hayward, who, as you said, I mean, he has stepped in, and he does have a nose for the ball. Even going back to last year when he was at Vanderbilt, had 7 interceptions there, which was 3rd best in the country. And then he comes into his rookie season and he leads the team in interceptions now.
That is the 11th interception by the Green Bay defense, and just like that, with 2 timeouts and 2 minutes 15 seconds left, Green Bay has a chance to tie or take the lead as Starks is out of bounds. They're going to keep the clock winding, and that's going to take us to the 2-minute warning. Starks good for 8. 2nd and 2 when we come back. Stafford with the interception, his 9th of the year. 3-point game. Look at the offensive leaders for Green Bay. 2nd down and 2. For the Packers down by 3. The ball at the Detroit 44.
319.
Rodgers keeps it. He's picked off. Back the other way. The interception by Lacy. And Aaron Rodgers throws his 6th interception of the season.
Yeah, you know, he goes where he needs to go with the football. I just don't understand. Well, one, Aaron Rodgers shouldn't have thrown the ball. But you see the safeties deep here. The middle of the field is where you got to go with the football. But I've seen it now throughout this game. It was Randall Cobb who's running the route, and you've got to get to the middle of the field, and yet he's staying up the seam. There's nowhere then for the quarterback to throw the football. Earlier in the game, they missed the exact same throw, only it was incomplete. This time, you know, Aaron Rodgers cannot make that throw. But I'm not sure how they're coaching these receivers versus that coverage, why they're not getting to the middle, because that's where the opening is within that 2-deep shell coverage that they've seen throughout this game today.
Yeah, the incompletion you're talking about was on the 4th down try.
That's right.
Here is a 1st down throw. Pass is caught. Small gain. Pettigrew with A.J. Hawk on him, a gain of 4.
And that 4th down play was also to Randall Cobb, and I will tell you that they do not want to get hurt on the outside by James Jones or Jordy Nelson. I would tell you, knowing what I know of this young man here, Randall Cobb, if you're going to give me the middle of the field with him in the slot position, they should be eating that up throughout this half, yet they've been unable to do that.
Stafford's going to run. It depends on the spot. They're going to mark him out of bounds with a gain of 6. And we'll see if it's enough for a 1st down.
You know, you don't really think of Matthew Stafford as being a runner, you know, because he's so good as a passer and in the pocket, but he really can run well.
It is a 1st down.
And he's able to pick up the 1st down, and what a nice chain of events here for the Lions. You know, they had a chance to extend their lead from 3 points to maybe 6, maybe 10 before the half, but a careless throw by Stafford, and then defensively, they get a takeaway themselves and stop the drive for the Packers.
Riley Reef still out at left tackle. Backus out with a hamstring. This one is... he and Scheffler just aren't on the same page, like they haven't practiced together. That was Scheffler in the area. He stopped. Stafford threw it like he was going to continue, and it's 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, and he threw it well after Scheffler had already turned around. I think Stafford was really just kind of getting this ball out of his hand and didn't like the look of the play.
Minute 14 left, 2 timeouts. Calvin Johnson across from Tramon Williams. On 2nd down, 4-man rush. Stafford again. An empty spot on the field. Stafford's looking for a flag. On a hold, he won't get it. It's 3rd and 10. Young and Pettigrew were in the area, if you want to call it that, a big area. And 2 incompletions brings up 3rd and 10. Now you look at the other side where Green Bay may get a chance if the Lions don't convert.
That's there on Devon House is what Matthew Stafford was wanting to call, but you're right. I mean, if they're not careful here, they don't pick it up, then they give the ball back to Green Bay with still plenty of time for them to be able to march right back down the field.
Extra man on a blitz. Stafford ducks under it, gets the ball knocked out by Moses. It's recovered by Green Bay. And on top of it, Mike Daniels after Desmond Moses knocked it out. And the Packers are right back where they were a moment ago with a minute left in the half.
Unbelievable. Brad Jones, he gets the pressure, and Matthew Stafford's able to avoid him. Great job, Desmond Moses, coming off of that. But if he doesn't make that play there on Stafford, they were in man coverage in the secondary, Matthew Stafford would still be running. I mean, you see what's in front of Stafford when he takes off. There's nobody there. He gets it, good 20 or 30 yards on this play if Desmond Moses isn't there to knock the ball out.
So that's 2 turnovers here in the second quarter by Detroit. And now just basically back where they were a moment ago. Here's one to Cobb, and a nice tackle is made by Drayton Florence, a gain of 7.
Yeah, so both of these defenses, here to end this half have made plays when they've had to make them to keep their offenses in the game.
That was a big tackle by Florence. It kept Cobb from being able to go out of bounds. Clock winding. Pass caught by Cobb. Green Bay will spend a timeout. They have one left. 34 seconds left in the half. What's coming up at halftime? Kurt Menefee.
Coming up on the Visa Halftime, these guys will be more than just eye candy as we get you caught up on all the action around the NFL, including the Cowboys trying to continue their turnaround as they host the Browns, and the Jets, well, they'll try and end its tumultuous week by beating the Rams. We'll find out on the Visa Halftime.
Jimmy wears great socks on the set. What's happened to your old coach? I mean, he's like a different person.
Man, I don't know. He stirred it up last week, though, didn't he?
Oh, yes, he did. Here's Stafford, and you're right. I mean, there was so much room in front of him, but Moses slapped it out of his right arm. And you see the reaction.
Well, he's frustrated. He was frustrated before that play because of the hold that he thought wasn't called there on corner house, but he knows what he had in front of him had he have been able to hang on to the ball.
Desmond Moses with a sack and a forced fumble. One of the guys trying to fill the void left by Clay Matthews. And here is a play by Fairley. A sack and a big loss, a loss of 8. As the clock continues to wind.
Here's the double team on Sue, and then that's why over here you've got single blocking on Nick Fairley. Last week he was able to beat that throughout that game against Minnesota, and he played very well. And in this game, he's done the same thing. If Sue's going to draw the attention, then Fairley has to beat one-on-one blocking, and he's been doing that.
So now we're going to have roughly a 50-yard field goal try by Crosby to try and tie this game as the Packers, after that sack by Fairley, and for the Lions, their first sack, it was a big play. 50-yard try coming from Crosby. Last 3 drives have ended in turnovers. First one picked by Casey Hayward. Then on the other side it was Lacy getting Aaron Rodgers. Then Desmond Moses forced it. Mike Daniels recovered it. And then that sack by Fairley turns what could have been a touchdown try into a field goal try by Crosby, who's missed 5 of his last 10 over the last 6 games.
Yeah, several of those were for over 50 yards, but he's missed some easy ones in recent weeks. You can only imagine what's running through his head right now.
Just 1 of 4 from this distance, 50 yards or more. And this one, timeout taken, and here it's happened again. Jim Schwartz called the timeout right before the snap.
Their second.
And Crosby missed it. And now he's going to get another chance.
Yeah, he's happy about that. I don't know that he's any more confident right now, but, I just wish the league would do away with that. I'm just tired of watching it.
Well, and to go back, Schwartz gambled, lost that gamble as Crosby gets a do-over. But this is a big deal for the Green Bay Packers and a team that believes it's good enough to win it all. They have a field goal kicker who hoped during the bye week to clear his head of the bad thoughts. They passed on a 49-yard try earlier. Now they're forced to try it from 50. He missed, but he gets another chance. And he misses again. Mason Crosby has missed 6 of his last 11. He had 2 cracks at it, plenty of distance. First one wide right, next one pulled left. 10-7 Lions at the half. Here's